My friend Anthony and I, who's since moved to New York, we were on a trip in Chicago on a job, and we were sitting in the airport waiting to leave, and we started talking about sort of how we like to make films and tell stories and stuff, but then when you're working and doing that kind of stuff, you just never have time to work on your own projects.
Mm-hmm.
And so we thought, well, without really like a deadline and a box to force yourself into making something, there's really no impetus or like push, to just go do something. So we thought, well, like, what if we have this problem, like other people have to have this problem, like what if we made something with some kind of box and some kind of inspiration that sort of like got people started, and then gave them like a place to show it. The Germ was sort of born like that. Initially it was called 180 seconds, and we thought, well, what if the limit was always you had to make something within 180 seconds, and then we sort of threw that out the window, and then the Germ became the thing, and that was really it. It was like the germ of an idea. So here's the start. Now go make what you will with it. And so, people have responded, I think, well. I think at the end of the day, it's just really a chance for an opportunity for people to actually create stuff, and force, like I said, a starting point. And then you've got a deadline, so now you've got something to work toward. We've had a pretty steady stream of submissions. I mean, we've got, to date, we have over about 170 films have been submitted over the course of all of them. And they're all pretty much local filmmakers. And probably every single time, I would argue about half to at least a quarter are new filmmakers, like people who've never made a film before. And that's so cool. I think, we said on the beginning not to really pit any of the films against each other. It was never like about a competition. No one's a winner at the end. It was always about, and it still is, like, it doesn't matter what your equipment is. It doesn't matter if you've ever really told a story before. Really, the thing I'm encouraging folks to do at each Germ is, like, be inspired to go make something. And if it's not a film, like, use that to go do something else. I think it's so hard to make stuff. It's really difficult to set yourself to creating something, because really creating things it's work, and it's hard work, and it's putting a piece of yourself out there too. And so there's definitely like a vulnerability that comes with that, and that's hard for people. And so my hope is when people come to the Germ or they make something for the Germ, really, if you're watching it and you're thinking like, oh, what's the technical prowess of this or whatever, and I'm trying to get people not to look at that. It doesn't matter how well it's filmed. What was the point that the person was trying to make? Probably the thing that's been the most interesting over the course of it is being able to see people challenge themselves to make stuff for the first time. Like, I want to tell a story and go do this. And now we have like 170 pieces of short film that were all made locally that just wouldn't exist without the Germ. And I guess when I look at it, for me, that's the coolest thing. Like, here's a bunch of things that people made that they have ownership over, that they have been able to been screened with people. You get to watch them and hear people react to it. And I guess I think that's just really cool. I think I kept it here really because I guess I see opportunity here, and I didn't think there was any reason for me to take it to a place that was like super saturated. You were going to move it to LA just to sort of be in LA, to have the name of LA, and I get the prestige that comes with that, but I don't believe anything that we're doing here isn't competitive with what's going on there. So, how do we grow it here? And I think there's a lot of people that want to do this kind of stuff here. We've got a lot of pretty passionate people. And it's just a matter of finding good talent and people who want to work and do that, and I definitely have found that here. So I think, there's no reason, I guess, to run off. What I see is like a really small group of sort of real passionate people in it, and I think that's the thing that I find is like people will come out to come make your thing or work on it. People here are just really passionate to come help and want to work on things. And and so I think that from the filmmaking community is really cool. And I think here at Windsong we've had we're we're a little bit of a hub for it. We get a lot of the filmmakers, local filmmakers, coming through, just working with us on projects, and then of course we try to have it here to sort of bring people here into the space, and so I think there's elements of that where we're definitely trying to foster those things. But I think it is a really passionate group of folks, and I do believe that within it there's definitely some really, I mean, I see it, in the Germ. I think if anything, that's what the Germ has done for me is like, there's some people too that I like that have come out that I'm like, oh wow, they're really great, that I didn't really know about them. But I think the thing is like you start to look at filmmaking as like, I think people tend to think of features, feature filmmaking and long form, and that's such a difficult. It's such a difficult game. That type of long storytelling is really hard, and getting that script made is really difficult.
Yeah.
But short films are much easier to make. Certainly your ability to sort of whittle a story down to something short that's compelling in that amount of time is also hard. And so it's cool to see that there's a lot of filmmakers making that kind of stuff. I think at the Germ that it's quite good. And like I said, first-time filmmakers abound. I mean, there's tons of first-time filmmakers in there, and they're all really interesting ideas. It's definitely helped my own filmmaking.
Yeah.
I've got one in all of them, pretty much. So that's been good. I'm running a little behind on this current one.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, I mean, I've submitted one in all of them. I think it's definitely helped. I think Windsong in general has helped with that because, in the midst of doing all this stuff, I think part of what we're doing is we're trying to do things that we're passionate about, and part of that is sometimes taking projects that don't necessarily pay a lot. So it has afforded us the opportunity to sort of like work commercially, get paid for what we're doing, but then also we're trying to pursue just passion projects